This morning at the Melbourne Wood Show, we're just going to have a look at using our new Moving Fillister plane to make a mortise and tenon on these are 4 rails for a coffee table, and we're going to put the mortise and tenon on all 4 rails at one go. These have been cut to length, but for a perfect finish you need to have a very square end. So I'm going to use my trying plane to square the ends up. This is red cedar I'm planing, so for doing end grain work you need the blade to be set reasonably deep. For harder woods you would set this blade finer. So what we're looking at here is getting our ends perfectly square that way and that way. And I just go through and do my 4 rails. Do both ends. Once you've squared the ends, made the rails the correct length, the next thing to do is to lay them on your bench. And this is where it's important your bench is flat. I've got a dog here which is 90 degrees to this dog hole here, but with the tail vise I only need to hold one end as long as I've got my spacing the same, and that will help square this up and get it right. So just put your ruler up against them and make sure they're equal. Tighten your dog up, so your tail vise up. Now if you put these through a thicknesser, they should be equal height, but if there's any imperfection you can do a bit of a touch up job while they're held here, and that makes it nice and flat and equal for your moving fillister to cut the shoulder. Now also to help hold things, I've strategically placed a dog hole here for a hold fast, and you'll find in this position in relation to your tail vise this is a pretty handy spot. So with the hold fast that Colin Clanton imports from Gramercy, that then tightens everything down, makes it level on the bench, ready to do your job and get more accuracy into your work. Now this is the new Moving Fillister plane. Now what I'm going to demonstrate here is how I can make 4 mortise and tenons all in one go to speed the process up. The Moving Fillister has an adjustable fence, and it has a scale on the fence front and back, so you can get them perfectly equal. Now they're in millimetres, or you can get them also in imperial. We also have a scale, it's a bit hard to see, but there's a scale on the side of the plane so that you can set the correct depth. Set the plane up, I've sharpened my blade at a skew angle, and it's important you keep that angle so that when you put the blade in, the edge is parallel to the sole to cut a square rebate. Now it has 2 little slots in the back of the blade, and they fit over a pin in the adjuster. That's what moves it up and down. So that comes in from the bottom, slides over the top of the pins and locates on the pin so that the blade will move up and down by the adjuster now. This knob here will tighten up like a wedge, and that holds the blade in position. So just bring it down so it just starts to engage the blade, but you can still move it fairly freely to position it correctly. So with the plane sitting like this, it's really easy just to use your 2 hands to laterally adjust it. So you can just see a whisker of blade out the side. In actual fact it lines up with the nicker blade, and it's parallel with the sole. Then once you've got that there, lock it down a bit tighter and adjust the depth to where you want. Being cedar, I can take a reasonably deep cut, then lock it off. The nicker has its own little adjuster. The softer woods you can go deeper with your nicker. In essence, the nicker cuts in front of this blade, so whatever the depth you set the nicker, this blade has to be just a little bit less. Now these boards are 19mm thick, and I want a 7mm tongue for my Tenon. So I'm going to set, so 19 minus 7 is 12, half of 12 is 6, so I want to take 6mm off each side. So I'll set my depth stop to 6mm. And I want the Tenon to be 1 inch wide, so I wind my fence in under the plane using the 2 knobs on this side. It's a left hand thread, so each one of these increments is 5mm, so I'm going to stop at the 5th one of those. Actually I might do it 26mm. Right, so both scales are equal. I'm now ready to play in my piece of wood. It's really important, as you're the person operating the plane, that your fence sits squarely against the end, because that's what at the end of the day will give you your squareness. The palm of your hand is where the power comes from, so you must have your palm on there. Locate your fingers somewhere around the adjuster and use the fence. Grab the plane like this with the fence so that you can push the fence against the end of the wood. And then you just plane away, making sure you're staying square. So just have a look from the end, all looks good. And ensure you stay up against the fence so that the wall here stays vertical. It's taking a really nice shaving. It's not too hard to push. If you're working with harder woods, just reduce your depth of cut slightly so that you've got control of your plane as you work. Take another sneak peek. It's usually pretty obvious if it's getting out of square. It looks good there, and we're starting to get close to our depth stop, and the plane will stop cutting. See there, stop cutting, and that's at half of the mortise Tenon, I should say. It's been cut to keep the board straight. Everything feels good. It's level at the end. I can now cut my second set of the other side of the Tenon. So same again, make sure we're hard up against the fence. Make sure you let the shavings come out. If they pack up in the throat, they will stop cutting. Just check, running pretty square there, looks good. Getting close now to the depth stop. Release the hold fast, and there you have a very, very neat Tenon. So if we were to put our other piece in, you can see the crispness of the joint. It's perfectly square, and the beauty of this is both shoulders exactly parallel to each other. Nice smooth finish. That should fit straight into your tenon if you've measured things up correctly. Do the other end and you've got all your tenons done to make your coffee tray. Beautiful tool for this purpose. And this tool can also do any size rebate along the grain, across the grain. And shortly we'll have a look at doing a shorter tenon and converting that tenon to a dovetail to show the versatility of this tool and our side rebate with a dovetail.